right, welcome everybody to the very first episode of a brand new series that I'm trying out that's going to be called Run for Covers. Yes, I like a good pun just as much as the next person. The concept and idea behind this is basically what I've been doing on the supersized editions for those forgotten variants. Basically just covering runs of variants or cover runs that I just want to talk about like in more detail or just kind of, show off, share with you guys. Give some pricing information. So if you guys are interested, you can see what things are selling for, how much they sold for, what the asking prices are, and make the determination for yourself whether you want to buy in or or not on certain books. Completely up to you. I just like looking at all these covers and sharing this stuff. And I realized that in doing forgotten variants, how I ended up doing like runs of variants from like the vampire variants this past weekend to the the Iron Man, because I do want to do Trons. Doing all of those, like that wasn't what I intended that series to be. So I wanted to just get back to allowing that series to just be a couple of random variants thrown together, like Forgotten Firsts or even those second printings, later printings shows for the Forgotten series. So it felt like I needed a place to do these runs of covers where I could just cover them in total or what have you. So that's why I created this series, so I can do this intermittently when I want to talk about some books, that I want to talk about. And I got a run of books to talk about this week that tie in again with Halloween. I'm getting all about Halloween these days. So I feel like this is kind of fun. And let's just show off some more covers and see what we got here. So hopefully you like this new series. If you do, let me know in the comment section what you think. Give me some suggestions of some runs and covers you want to see. Like, do you want to see those Lego covers or the Mad Magazine covers from DC, the movie poster covers from DC, or some of the other variants like the Tron variants that I mentioned, or the Age of Apocalypse variants from Marvel, or just more Venomized, whatever it might be. There's tons of variant cover runs out there, whether they be incentive variant runs or just theme of the month variants that we can talk about and just look at. I mean, I don't know. I just love looking at this stuff. This way you get introduced to some things you may not have been aware of. And, just kind of cool talking comics. I don't know. I like it. Hopefully you like it as well. If you do, let me know in the comments. Like I said, like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling friends so we can keep growing the channel. We are getting pretty close to 1,100. And once I hit it, I think I'm just going to give something away. I don't know if I'm going to do any kind of criteria. It's not going to be like a huge giveaway, but I'm going to give something away. So keep an eye out for that over the next week or so, because I think we'll probably cross the 1,100 mark pretty soon. And that being said, if you want to see what books we're talking about this week in the first episode of Run for Covers, just hang on for a few seconds after the new intro, and I'll be right back with this week's books. Okay, so as I noted, I actually have a relatively small selection of covers to cover this week. Again, new series, just want to try it out first, see what you guys think before we dive into some of these 25, 20 cover plus runs that I do on the weekends with those supersized Saturday and Sunday editions of Forgotten Variants. But Forgotten Variants, as I said, is going to go back to just doing some random variants just thrown together, and I'll be able to do more of these cover runs here in Run for Covers. So let me know what you think. This week, we are going to look at, again, a nice spooky Halloween-themed run, and we're going to look at the Marvel Necrosha variants. Most of these are 1 in 15s. I think there's a 1 in 20, and I think there's a 1 in 10 or 2 mixed in as well. We're only looking at about 7 covers as part of this whole run, and they are all movie poster homages done by Clayton Crane. So they're all pretty cool. Like Clayton Crane was also the regular artist on the run, but he also did these pretty awesome movie, horror movie homage covers in this run for the incentive. So I thought it'd be kind of cool just to kind of look at them and cover them. So let's see what you guys think. All right, so our first one we're going to start with was with the I think the opening book, like basically the issue 0 or part 1 of Necrosha, and that is this Lost Boys cover. Pretty cool. This number 1, I dig it. I mean, you could see it pretty clearly. I mean, if you didn't recognize it, I mean, here it is. It's pretty well done. Everybody's kind of positioned really well. It's not a stretch to figure it out. The colors and everything is there. Even the way they did the title card's pretty cool. So you can see that font is even kind of used for X-Force. It's just pretty cool. And this is a 1 in 20 incentive, as opposed to some of the other ones are going to be a little bit lower. But with that, I'm not going to give you the full print runs. I'm just going to give you the incentive run, which is estimated about 2,393. So just under 2,400 copies of this, 1 in 20 out there for this book. And it is still kind of tough to find. Like, there's not a lot of them out there. So if you find one, I would recommend scooping it up, just because it's, apart from it just being cool, you don't see a lot of these, even out there on the interwebs these days. As I said, what's available right now, I only found this one that's asking for $98 right now. And this is from Canada, so there's also a higher shipping cost, a $16 shipping charge. So just keep that in mind as well. I mean, I know these things are cyclical, so sometimes these books show up in waves, and then all of a sudden they're all gone. So it's not a impossible to find book with a tiny print run. There again, close to 2,400 copies estimated, so these should be out there somewhere. It's just finding them could be difficult at times. So this might be one that's in a lot of people's collections because I kind of dig Lost Boys, as I would. Like, if I had this in my PC, which I do not, I would probably be hanging on to it and wouldn't be selling it, even if it is fetching, high prices these days. And if you want to see what these prices are that it's selling for, well, there were a couple sales and again, they're pretty wide ranging. Late September, there's one for $25 with free shipping, and then the day before, September 23rd, another one sold for $120. So yeah, this thing can sell all over the place. So if it's out there, it looks like it sells. So if you find one, like I said, consider yourself lucky. Keep it, hang on to it, or if you want to sell it, I mean, that's up to you. It's your call. It's your book. You do what you want with it. But that's what we're looking at here with this Lost Boys homage on X-Force. Or I shouldn't say X-Force. Necrosha, yeah. The number 1. But moving on, again, most of these are the X-Force titles. And again, all Clayton Crane covers, so they all are pretty cool. You can see the style of his art pretty clearly. And our next one it's X-Force number 21. This is, if you didn't guess, Interview with the Vampire. Pretty well done. Again, just the way that he has them framed out, they match up pretty well. Sometimes they could be loosey-goosey with doing these homages, and it's like, oh, I see it, but doesn't fit perfectly. But this, I mean, again, from even the way that the font on the title X-Force is written, X-Force versus the Black Queen, the Necrosha Chronicles, they're putting it in there to kind of make it fit more of the, the vampire, chronicles there from the Anne Rice books. But definitely a cool one as well, if you ask me. And now it's still part of this Necrosha run, which also still fits this Halloween kind of time frame theme. So it's not just the horror movie covers, but this whole like storyline too is about the people returning from the dead, or characters returning from the dead, and you had Celine here. Definitely interesting little run. It did cross more than just the X-Force books, even though that's what we're looking at here with these incentive variants, because not everything that was part of this crossover event, like the New Mutants books, also had a series of chapters running along with this, but they didn't have the incentive covers like we have here, so I couldn't include them here. But there are some New Mutants books. I think there's a couple of X titles too that had some one-offs mixed in as well. So this was a pretty large crossover event for the X books of the time. So just be mindful. If you want to read the whole thing, there's more than the ones, just what I'm showing you here. These are just the variants that I wanted to talk about. And this was a lower print. Oh, sorry, I skipped past that. This was the lower printing, lower incentive. So this was only a 1 in 10. So if you go off the estimates there, you can see it's almost 5,400 copies of this one out there, because it's 1 in 10. A lot of these, I think, had like close to a 60,000 print run. It's popular back then. So plenty of books printed. But with the lower incentive, there's going to be potentially more copies of this cover out there than, say, the Lost Boys one. So just keep that in mind. And if we want to look at what's actually available on this, you can find this from $40 to $60 right now. That's what we got listed by it now. There might be some other outliers, but as I've mentioned before on these things where I'm trying to just give you a broad idea of pricing and what's out there, I'm not giving you everything. Not like Chasing Ghosts, I try to list everything that's available. But in these, I'm just trying to give you a range of more common pricing. There might be some high outliers, and there might be some low auctions that are starting at 99 cents. I'm not putting that there because it's an auction. It's not a buy it now price. So I'm just trying to give you a gauge of what people are looking for these books, to give you a good representation of what you might have to spend if you go out right now and just want to buy one and not have to take a chance at an auction, or just see the crazy high prices too. Because sometimes there are some crazy high asks, and maybe they get them, maybe they don't. But I try to keep the outliers out. So just a friendly reminder of what I'm providing here as far as pricing goes. Again, it's so you can make your own decisions. What's sold on this, so you can see what the market's actually selling this thing for. 20 to 30 bucks. So it's kind of a little bit under the current asks that I showed you, but it's still kind of right there. I mean, it's not, this ain't a $5 book. It's not a $10 book. There was a $20, again, just straight up buy it now. And then the second one was an auction that only had the one bid, but it was still for 30 bucks with $10 shipping. So it still ended up selling for 40 bucks. So definitely give you a sense of what this thing is selling for. So keep an eye out for it, because it also, again, like I said, it's a cool one. At least to me. I think these are all fantastic looking covers. There isn't like a weak one in the bunch, to be honest, from what I see. So the next one is fun Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez homage on this X-Force number 22 from Dusk Till Dawn. Again, pretty well done with the way that this thing is just framed out with the text and everything. It's, like I said, they even take the time to do the fonts and try to put little extra quotes and extra text and just how the names are listed up above, like the actors on the poster. They really try to make these look like those movie posters, and I appreciate that extra level of detail and attention to detail in this. This one was a 1 in 15, so that's going to estimate it about just under 3,500 copies. So again, these aren't really low incentives in the sense that low printed numbers. There should be plenty of these out there, but these are pretty popular, so the pricing kind of reflects that. So a lot of these are going for more than ratio. When you see some of the prices of asking as well as the sales. These ones aren't really that cheap. Not that they're all super expensive. There's one super expensive one, which we're going to get to. But yeah, just throwing that out there. And if we want to see what this one's asking for, this is one I actually find more often than not. And I can sometimes find it in like the dollar bins. For whatever reason, this is the one I found a lot of. This one, and there's another one we're going to get to. But there's like two I always find. The others I just don't see. So I do have this one in a box somewhere. I just couldn't find it to dig it out. But this one asking about 20 bucks raw. And you see there's a 9.8 ask for $200 with 16 watchers. So a decent amount of eyes on that 9.8. And like I said, I find them in dollar boxes occasionally. So they're not going to be in 9.8 shape most of the time. So 9.8s could be at a premium as well. I mean, even though it has this movie poster cover, it might hide some ticks from the untrained eye, but as soon as you try to submit a book and you just didn't see, I didn't see that tick or that mark, that bend right there, because of the way the poster's done with a little bit of wear showing on the outsides, you might miss it. So just keep that in mind as well. Sometimes you can be tricked into thinking this is a high grade book when it really, really isn't. Moving on to what's actually sold for this one. This one also still sells 20 bucks to 50 bucks. That $50 sales from at the end of summer there back in August, but it was still there. I just want to give you again the range. This is the range of what I was seeing most of the sales happening in that $20 to $50 range. So again, just giving you the information so you can do what you like with it. But definitely a cool one. Like I said, this is one I have found in those boxes. So keep an eye out just in case. And you might as well keep an eye out for the next one just in case, but the chances you find it are probably pretty slim, because this one is a tough find these days because it's pretty popular. And this one sells for a lot. And that is this X-Force number 23. This is an Underworld homage. It's reversed, so I can't do a straight comparison. I don't know why they reversed it, but I'll show you. It's just reversed in the framing. She's looking that way, and then she's looking this way. So it kind of gives you that a Jim Lee second print Batman 608 facing off against Superman. Like these two are looking at more head to head. So it's not a straight homage as the last ones have been, but it's still pretty accurate in the sense of how it's kind of laid out, with her standing there, city, moon in the background on that kind of similar ledge, cape flowing. This one's a little more risque. She has less of an outfit, less of a costume than Kate Beckinsale did in the Underworld movies, but still pretty fantastic cover. And like I said, this one is sought after. And outside of her just facing the opposite direction, I mean, that also just could have been a creative choice, because it would make more sense for her to face that way when you're talking about a comic. I don't know why. Just looking off, I don't know. Looking to the right makes a lot more sense to me, too, than looking left. But it is what it is. Let's see what we've got available. Like I said, this one's a little pricey. So what's out there right now? $206.57. From the UK for a raw one is the ask right now, or $525 for a 9.8. 1 in 15. So, as I said, did I go over those numbers on this one? I'm sorry if I missed it. But 1 in 15, if I did 3,400 or so copies of this. So there's a lot. But like I said, it's still pretty popular, which is why we get the asking prices of $200 raw and over $500 for a 9.8. This is just a very popular book that a lot of people have wanted to add to their collections. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous, but it's a little out of my price range of what would like to pay. It's like, sure, I could buy it, but I just choose not to at these rates personally. And you can see what it's actually selling for. Well, best offers on 125 and 190. So those asks are, they're there, still pricey ask. And I did look in to see what these actually were accepted at. And 125 still got 100, and that 189 got 150 accepted offers. So again, 100 to 150 bucks is what it's actually selling for. And that raw ask of $200 is not that much higher when you really think about it. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit of a premium on top, but eventually, this thing is going to be harder and harder to find as time keeps moving on at this rate. But we'll see. Maybe we get lucky. We can find one for cheap. But this is the most expensive of the bunch, which is going to take us to our next one. And this is X-Force number 24. And this, again, is an incentive. This is an homage. I didn't know this one off like immediately. I didn't look like the other ones. I saw it and was like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. But this one I had to look into because it's like it looks familiar, but I don't know why. And it's Marvel winking and nodded himself with Blade Trinity. So this is a Blade Trinity homage, which this might not have been my first choice for a horror poster like homage. That said, I told you I still like them all because the execution and the art on this is still great. I still dig this image. Like, this cover still looks pretty badass to me. So again, from the text being matched up with the text of the poster, still trying to go with the layout of the poster, I still dig it. There's 1 in 15, a little over 3,300 copies on this one. So, copies are there. Copies are definitely there. And you want to see what's available on this one? Well, this is about a $40 to $70 are the asking prices right now on this one. So still, they're all pretty expensive for the most part. I think the From Dusk Till Dawn was the cheapest. That $20 raw out there is what they're looking for. And like I said, that's the one I found the most for whatever reason. But still, pretty cool covers if you ask me. You want to see what actually sold? One sold end of September there for $75 for a raw one. So that was the only sale I could find on this. So I couldn't give you a range, but still, $75 is no small number. So it is still pretty pricey. Not quite Underworld pricey, but Blade Trinity homage is getting quite a few bucks there. And we're going to take it into the last, I think, of the regular part of the run with issue 25. Again, all through the X-Force series. This is the X-Force run Clayton Crane had, and then all these homages are also done by Crane, which is still pretty cool. And I'm sure you can see it when you look at this. This is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Pretty well done, again, from what he did with that background to make that framing and matching the text and how everything's laid out. Again, very, very well done. And you can see the faces are still in there in that frame, but they're different. It's related to the story, related to the X-Men, not just Dracula, but still pretty cool horror movie poster homage. 1 in 15, a little over 3,300 copies again on this one. And so they're out there. And what's out there are copies that are looking for $28 or $100. So again, these things got pricey. They are not cheap because even that $27 ask has about $20 shipping from the UK, and that's also why you can kind of tell a lot of times with these buy it nows if the pricing looks weird. Like, why is it $27.55? That's pretty darn specific. It's because of the currency conversion. So it's probably a book that's coming from Canada, Australia, the UK, or something like that, which is why the price looks a little weird one off because. In the UK, they might just be asking, this is like $35 or something like $25 or something simpler. And you're like, oh, okay. Anyway, that being said, what's this thing sold for recently? This has sold for anywhere from $50 to $70 raw. So still decent amount getting taken in here. Again, that $50 was as recent as September 29th. So just a few weeks ago, these things are still selling. So it's not that stale, this sales data. But we got one more, which is not part of the X-Force run completely. This was like a side issue one-off that related to the story. This is the Necrosha The Gathering. And this is not even a variant, but I'm still including it here because it kind of fits what we're doing here as part of the cover run. So this is a cover A. this Necrosha the Gathering #1. So this is the only cover for it. Or let's just say the only cover for it. But this is the cover A. There's no variant movie poster. This isn't an incentive. So all of the copies that are out there are this. And this is John Carpenter's Vampires homage, which you can, again, see. Pretty well done with the font and everything. They kind of match everything pretty well. Even if, again, this wouldn't have been my first choice of movie homages. Not my favorite movie. I love John Carpenter, don't get me wrong. But wasn't just a huge fan of this movie particularly. But it is what it is. So it being a cover A, the full run would have this. So we're looking at 40,000 copies of this. And this is the other one I mentioned that I do find in those dollar boxes because, again, there's 40,000 of them, more than 40,000 of them. So there's plenty out there to be had. But it's still pretty cool. Like, I still dig this cover. Like, it's just a pretty awesome cover in and of itself. That the colors, the way that it reaches out to you. And I just, again, I'm a sucker for a movie poster homage. So just going to throw that out there. And what's this available for? If you're out shopping, well, you can find this thing as cheap as $2, $1.99, or as expensive as $25 because it does look pretty cool. So there are definitely cheap copies out there, but again, this is the range I want to give you. This is what's out there. People are asking, so that's the range being asked for. But as you can see, there's plenty of those cheaper copies out there. This is basically a cover price book that you can find, cover or less, in most places. But if you really want it and you have a hard time finding it, you might have to pay a little of a premium. And we want to look at what actually sold on this. Well, I did have one sale, and like I said, it was $4. So yeah, right around cover price. Not too bad, but then you got to pay shipping. But I don't know. Still definitely pretty cool if you ask me. And that's it. That's my first episode for Run for Covers. Hopefully you like that, and you still like all the stuff I'm doing here in the channel. Again, I always take suggestions. You may not see them right away, but I have a long list for all these different series that I do. And when you guys give me ideas, you share what you want to see, I do put it down, and it's there for me to go to once I'm ready to cover it, or it captures my interest to do it. So keep shooting me those comments. Keep engaging. It's not just me here. Let's do this together. Let's have some fun talking about comics and all this pop culture and fun stuff. So that's why I like this run, because it kind of ties the pop culture together with comics, and that's why I'm a sucker for it. But once again, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Again, let me know by commenting, liking, subscribing to the channel. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing it, so I can give some more stuff away, because I got plenty of books to give away. I might even have one of those from Dusk Till Dawns to give away if I can find it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But let me know what you think, and I will see you guys soon.